They were finishing the meal with Lisa and Fernando at their house when Marie turned to Fernando with a smile and announced, "Fernando, this dinner wasn't innocent. I didn't want to do this at work," in a more impersonal way. She handed him an envelope. Fernando immediately opened it and saw that it was a resignation letter, giving the legal notice period. "But why?" asked Fernando, surprised, while Lisa also looked intrigued and curious. Marie answered with a smile, "You know, my daughter is about to have the baby, and I want to help her for a while, especially at the end, and help her recover." "But you don't need to resign," replied Fernando, feeling sorry to lose a valuable collaborator. "I'll give you the time off you think you need. In a few months, you'll be back to doing nothing." Meanwhile, they noticed Alex's expression and smile at the same time. Marie said, "Well, after that, I'll be a mother and a grandmother at the same time, and that complicates things." Lisa looked at her very seriously. "Marie, are you pregnant? Isn't that risky at your age?" "No." They were even more intrigued. It was Alex who spoke up. "Paola is pregnant, and it's mine, but she didn't want the baby, yet she accepted to carry the pregnancy to term." And Marie continued, "When Patricia is well and settled, we'll go to Dubai to help Paola in the final weeks of her pregnancy and during her recovery, and then we'll bring the baby back." The guests congratulated them, continued to talk, and the topic of conversation between Alex and Fernando eventually shifted to Alex's Mustang, which they both went to see in the garage, with Alex quickly returning to grab the car keys and saying, "We're going for a ride. I'll let Fernando drive." Soon after, the car pulled out of the garage and drove off, with Fernando at the wheel. Lisa seized the opportunity. "Are you okay with all this?" "Yes, very much so." "Are you sure?" Marie thought a bit about what to say to her friend. "You know, when Alex was hurt, I didn't know who to confide in at that moment. I was desperate and ended up writing a fictional letter to Alex, which I opened with a sentence, 'I don't deserve forgiveness.' In the first conversation I had with him. You know, it was surreal. He came home as if he had just left yesterday, brought dinner, we ate, hardly spoke, and then we went to the living room, and he returned the first lines of that letter to me. He told me not to ask him for forgiveness because what I had done was unforgivable. Only at the end of the conversation did I find out he had the letter. I wrote it, tossed the pages in the trash, Patricia saw it, kept it for a few months, and used it to convince him to come to the wedding and probably, without intending to, give me another chance. But in the first week he was home, he was always tender with me, but he wouldn't let me touch him. After a week, it happened, and it was everything I imagined and more, but he always seemed guarded. And then this happened." Lisa listened curiously as Marie continued. "He told me about Paola, the friendship he had built with her over months of daily contact when he felt most vulnerable. The way she returned that friendship, the certainty he had that I had already filed for divorce, and according to him, colored that friendship in all the colors of the rainbow. But they only got together a few times on weekends when Alex went to Dubai. This pregnancy was clearly an accident. Alex told me she gave him the news before asking anything, and she told him that if it was someone else's, she would have dealt with it, but being Alex's, she wouldn't do that without asking, but she didn't want the child, and Alex immediately told her that if she carried the pregnancy to term, he would raise the child. And then he came to talk to me. And what did he say? He explained the whole situation. I was already imagining him leaving me again, but no. He only asked if I wanted to be a mother again. And did he tell you what would happen if you refused? No. And I didn't ask. I know Alex. In his mind, this was how he saw the problem solved in the best possible way, so before thinking of alternatives, he asked me. And he told me he didn't want me to accept out of any sense of obligation. And you? I thought about it a little. Interestingly, the only thing Paola told me at the wedding was that if I hurt Alex again, she would come from Dubai and rip my heart from my chest. You talked to her, what is she like? Well, she's Italian. She's expressive, wears her thoughts on her sleeve, talks with her hands, but she's fun, she has charisma. I have to admit that Alex knows how to choose his women, Lisa replied, winking at her. She's someone I think I would easily befriend. And I think you would too. When you get to meet her, you'll understand what I mean. But after thinking about it, and knowing that Alex would never allow this child to disappear, and considering what it would be like to raise a brother or sister for James and Patricia, I told him yes, without reservations. And you know what? You know that feeling that he was somewhat guarded? It disappeared. And I am immensely happy with my decision. I may not be the biological mother, but I am the mother he chose. Lisa hugged her. I'm happy for you. Really very happy.